Kara and I have been toying around with this idea of actually getting a camper van.
And living in it.
Yeah, and living in it. And I guess this is kind of our test run, if you will say, to see if I think Kara would have no problem with this, but I think I definitely would. It'd be more challenging for me. But yeah, so we luckily have two amazing friends that just bought this Mercedes Sprinter.
It's beautiful. We'll give you a full
amazing.
tour in a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll give you a tour in a little bit. But we are headed to Sedona, Arizona, and then to the Grand Canyon for the week.
You've never seen the Grand Canyon?
I've never seen the Grand Canyon, actually. That's kind of embarrassing, but here we are.
It's not embarrassing.
In the camper van. So yeah, we will be kind of documenting this trip and going from here. So you're already eating all of our snacks.
I'm eating a protein bar.
Oh, all right. So we'll see you soon. Well, this is a little awkward.
You feeling a little bit of embarrassment?
Well, I had this amazing plan on documenting our trip. It'd be kind of our first travel vlog, which I have done extensive research on how to best do a travel vlog. But tip number one is to make sure your microphone is on and working. So I'm still trying to figure out this whole microphone thing, but needless to say, all of the footage that we got throughout the duration of our trip, 90% of the footage had no sound. So unfortunately, we can't give you that experience of really documenting the trip, but
we can show you the beautiful shots. But the truth is, we lived in a van for a week.
And we want to talk about it.
So Caleb and I obviously live in a garage, and
You can watch that video right here, but don't actually click on that video yet. You can watch it at the end. But this will break down our minimalistic, chic design.
LA chic.
LA chic
Living
garage.
in a garage.
Tiny living.
We live in a garage, and we have been debating. We're getting married in 7 weeks?
Yes.
6 weeks? 7 weeks? And we've been debating, do we want to potentially go on the road for a good chunk of time in a camper van? And we have these two friends that own an epic camper van called Big Buck.
Big Buck.
On
He's
Instagram.
a beauty.
He's a beauty. And they let us take it for the better half of a week to Sedona, the Grand Canyon. We went down to Phoenix and just have this adventure and give it a test run.
And we wanted the full experience, so we didn't go to any RV hookups or any RV lodges. We boondocked the entire time. If you don't know what boondocking is, there's so many videos out there, but essentially the government owns property or owns land that you can camp on for free for 14 days. It's a first come, first serve basis, and there's no running water, there's no toilets or anything like that. So
it's just open land.
Just open
Literally,
land.
kind of in every part of the country you can find it. It's all over.
But it's
we did not know what boondocking was before this. We didn't know where we were staying when we took off from LA in the camper van, driving to Sedona the first night. We literally didn't know.
We didn't. But it's funny, as a kid,
Yeah.
I'm like, we're out in the boondocks.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now I understand.
Boondocks
Now I understand what the boondocks, what it actually means.
Yeah. But we boondocked every night that we were out camping.
And so we're going to kind of weigh the pros and the cons of what we experienced a week in a camper van, living in a camper van.
Yeah.
As we went from Los Angeles to Sedona for a couple of nights, into the Grand Canyon, back to Sedona before we headed back to LA.
Can I talk about some of my pros?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here's a couple of my pros. One, van living forces you to be incredibly minimalistic. So
Awesome.
You get one pan, you get one cutting board, you get one knife, you get 2 wine glasses, 2 coffee mugs. The storage in the camper van is very limited. And so even in packing going in, we were like, well, I just get 1 bathing suit and I get 1 pair of hiking shorts. And on this trip, we didn't have to do our own laundry. If we had stayed longer, we would have had to do that. But I really loved that it forced us to minimalize the things that we think are important.
Yeah.
And to just even, I mean, we want that in the rest of our life in general, but in a camper van, you're like in the most minimal of spaces. So just paring down everything that you could need.
Which I've loved because my life has changed so much where I've used to in the past want big and like extravagant and fancy and a lot of things and toys and so on and so forth. But as I've grown in my own healing journey, it's been really weird and kind of cool to see my life really go towards a more essentialism or minimalistic approach to life with having less. And I would say that I would completely agree with you that that is such a pro when it comes to van life. A not necessarily a con, because if you have very little things, it's easy to maintain everything and keep things orderly. But there was a couple of moments when the van started to get kind of like just a little bit cluttered or out of place or things kind of everywhere, and I could feel the chaos
like,
immediately.
It's messy. It's
right?
messy.
I'm definitely one of those guys. If my room is messy, I can't sleep, or if my room is messy, I can't study.
Yeah.
I can't do anything if there's mess around. And so there was the importance of like, hey, you have very few things, but those things can actually clutter a van really quickly. And so there is the necessity, for me anyways, to make sure everything has an exact spot and you put it in its exact place anytime you are parked or whenever you're on the road.
Yeah. Another pro, I have another pro.
Go for it.
Is that it is really cool to be able to drive out into the middle of nowhere and just sleep there. Like the first night that we got to Sedona, we found a boondocking site.
I was very scared.
He was literally just, but we got to Sedona and we had YouTubed this spot and found this spot
the GPS coordinates.
The GPS coordinates. And it was 30 minutes down a gravel road into the middle of nowhere. Like not just like, oh cool, there's a couple RVs, the middle of nowhere. But that was so special for each of us because one, it's just an experience to do something like that and to get out of your comfort zone and just like be in complete silence. Like there was not a sound other than crickets and some birds. But just that adventure aspect of like you can in camper van living, you can go anywhere you want to.
As long as your van can get there.
Yeah.
And I love that because if we did do the camper van life, if we decided to go, if the garage was all for a purpose, basically preparing us for the moment in time that we're going to live in a van, it's going to force growth. And I love that. Yeah. That there really is, for us, really speaking from our experience, if we decided to go forward with living in a van for a year, our first year of marriage, that is going to be a year of growth. Yeah. It will be thrusted upon you. And going along with...
our first year of marriage will be that.
It will, but this is going to kind of, magnify it.
What is that called? Like putting it in a pressure cooker?
Yeah.
It would literally put us in a pressure cooker.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of pressure. But along with that idea of like being out nowhere, I would say one of my favorite things about this van is showering outside butt-ass naked.
You loved that part.
I loved it. I honestly loved it. The van that we have actually does have a shower in it, but I'm 6'2", 235 pound, an ex-NFL linebacker.
Like, let me document myself showering naked. I was like, yeah, you should.
Give me that sunshine. Give me them.
But there's no way I'm getting in that shower. If I had to, it could work. Yeah. But we were in the middle of nowhere. It was Arizona in the summertime. I'm like, the water was being heated as we sat around. And so it was like a warm shower whenever I woke up and decided to shower. But that was amazing. Like for whatever reason, I feel really cool. I felt like a man in a new way where I'm like, yeah.
Another pro-ish, we'll call it a pro-ish, is that we went, we're like 7 weeks up from our wedding, so we're trying to be relatively healthy. Yeah. And so you have to be kind of resourceful with food that you're eating because we didn't want to eat Hot Pockets and Doritos every night. So just being mindful of like, how can we cook on the road in a way that feels
Nourishing, healthy,
but still fun.
Yeah.
And we did. We like cooked over a campfire, which was so fun. And we did hot dogs, like chicken hot dogs that first
chicken
night.
Hot dogs, protein, extra protein.
Chicken hot dogs that first night. Yeah, and we were pretty resourceful with how the kitchen is tiny and the refrigerator is like a little nook. So just figuring out how we're going to keep all of that in there and stay in some sort of rhythm and routine.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of like not having structure on the road.
So there's so many pros. We absolutely adored our time. We loved it.
I was like, I'll do this tomorrow.
But the only thing I keep going back to is this idea of like, do I love this because I know I'm going home? And that was a really important question. And I think it's hard. I don't think we can actually know what it's like to really live in a van for 6 months or a year, however long it would be, until we actually did it. And so I was kind of, like having that thought process a lot of like, do I really love this because I know I'm going home?
Yeah.
And so I do think it would be really hard because we're such community-driven people. We love our friends. We love gathering and, creating dinners, although we haven't had much of that given COVID-19 and everything. But I think it would be very, very challenging being isolated. In a sense, and sure, we can stop by and see friends on the road, wherever the van decides to take us. But I do think there is an element of just not having a home. I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but I think that is going to be a really hard part if we do decide on doing this. But needless to say,
I have one more thing. So I feel like just piggybacking on that in the same way where like maintaining a diet might be difficult or like that rhythm. I just love playing. I always want to play. And so one of our favorite parts was we went on this. We thought it was going to be like a quick hike into the woods, not the woods, into the mountains.
With no shade.
It ended up being a 3.5 uphill mile
hike.
Trek up mountains. It was 99 degrees. But then at the end were all these cliffs and waterfalls, and we got to like jump and play in the water.
Crystal clear.
It was phenomenal.
Amazing.
It was definitely the best part. But even with that, because we kind of went into it without knowing like how long it would be or whatnot, and then we didn't know how long we would stay, my propensity is to be like, let's just play today. Let's just like go on a hike and like stay at the water as long as we want to.
And we got stuff we need to do.
And I think that would be a challenge on the road when there's so much beauty in this country to see, and there's so many hikes and adventures you could go on. I could see it being a challenge to really create, to create scheduling. Yeah. To really stick to some sort of schedule.
You're constantly on the road. That would be challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Needless to say, we are currently shopping vans right now. However, we're not the only person with that idea. I've done an extensive amount of research on different van companies and just trying to price things out. But we wouldn't get a van until next March, April. So many of these companies are...
Well, you can buy the van, but then to get it outfitted...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. A converted van until March or April, because some of these companies have... I think COVID has done something where people want to be outdoors, can't go into a hotel, so let's buy a mobile hotel. Yeah. And so, so we're kind of talking about that. We're getting married. Is our first year of marriage where we want to feel so not necessarily grounded, but on the go? Or do we want to take our first year of marriage and actually really get planted, really get grounded somewhere here in Los Angeles, have a home, so on and so forth. So I will say though, we were pleasantly surprised, especially I was, because I did not think this was going to be something that I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, we loved it.
Much.
We did not want to come back.
And so if you have a chance, if you're in Los Angeles and you want to check out Big Buck, go rent Big Buck. But if you have a chance to take a camper van out into some boondocking experiences, we highly, highly, highly recommend it. And again, if you want to check out our current situation of living in a garage here in Los Angeles that we absolutely love in so many ways, so much growth, so much beauty here. It's been such an incredible experience. So if you want to check that out, you can do so here. As always, thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.